sure we don't get hit by nothing.
Well, just
And I see this gentleman out here all the time.
That's my friend Larry.
I see him all the time on this on his lawnmower.
He's old now.
Yeah, I see him all the time riding up and down here. You wanna come over and say what's up? I like your wheels, man. They roll.
Hey Larry, how you doing?
What?
Don't be mad at me. We want to interview you.
For what?
He's a documentarian.
You're doing what?
History.
You're doing what?
History.
About what?
Pottstown.
About me?
No.
About what?
Well, he saw you, so I said that's my friend Larry.
Okay. What you want to know, bro?
Are you from the area?
I am.
Yeah, so we just like to talk about the pride that people have by living in Pottstown. How proud people are of staying here in Pottstown. And
Very proud.
Yep.
Very proud. I would not, if I could not, leave here.
Yeah.
Period. I would be here the rest of my life. But that's not going to be long.
Yeah. What's up, folks? Today I spent time in rural Mecklenburg County outside of the Charlotte city limits. I explored the Pottstown community located in Huntersville, North Carolina. While there, I met up with local historian Bee Jay Caldwell and asked about what entertainment was like in the community for kids and adults. Exploring these hidden gems and communities is what History Before Us is all about. Make sure to subscribe and share. I hope you enjoy. Peace. All right, folks, I am in the town of Cornelius right now. As you see, Cornelius Elementary School over there to your right. And this is kind of like the heart of downtown Cornelius, if you will. There's churches, libraries. It's really clean and pristine, really neat little neighborhood that kind of takes you back to, you know, what life used to be. With some of these buildings that have been here for a while, and now with a lot of new folks moving to the area, of course, there's some changes that are happening, and there's more buildings that are modern that are now taking up the space or what have you. But they try to do a good mix of the old and new down here in this little small town. Over here to the right is the Kane Center, which is a new, it's kind of like a multiplex of different type of installations as it relates to art. There's movie, documentary screenings and things like that that's in the area. And so it's a pretty dope little town. But where we're headed is to Huntersville. And Huntersville is also a little small town. And all of these are like suburbs of Mecklenburg County, which is Charlotte, North Carolina. And the thing about these towns is the tapestry as it relates to its history. It's very diverse, and cotton was huge in this area. They produced cottons pre-Civil War as well as post-Civil War for the mills, and of course it would be shipped to various different places. But where we're going right now, inside of this enclave, this community is called in Huntersville, it's called Pottstown. And it was founded by formerly enslaved individuals. Now, when I say Pottstown, I don't want you to think of a town. However, that's the name in which it was called for a man by the name of Otha Potts. And to my understanding, based on Miss Bee Jay's research, and that's who I'm going to go pick up here, and we're going to go explore some of the places where people would party as well as sell liquor out of Pottstown. It was named after Otha Potts. And he was out of Appalachia, up in the mountains, I believe Old Fort, North Carolina. And so we're going to explore some of Pottstown, some of the things that, the untold stories that she may have heard growing up with her mother and grandparents, and show you a little bit of this small town life and what it was back in the day for the residents of Pottstown here coming up. And Miss Bee Jay has granted me the opportunity to come and bug her for the day and ask her about the various different things as it relates to entertainment in the community. So I think it's important that we also talk about the school right here, right, Miss Bee Jay?
Yes.
So tell us about this school over here and what it meant to the community.
This was the heart and soul of our community. There are 10 churches in the area. and each church had its own congregation, and each congregation thought they were the best. But the school was able to merge all of that into one because we had to come together. That was our common denominator. And so Mr. I.T. Graham, our one and only principal, was like the Godfather for sure. And they called him Tater Head Graham because he had a funny made head like a potato.
So kind of like mine, right? Like
No.
tater head like mine.
Uh-huh.
I have a good friend that used to call me tater head though.
Really?
So, yeah,
Okay,
back in the
okay.
day.
And so he knew everything because half the people didn't tell him anything and half the people told him everything.
Yeah.
So he knew about the good, the bad.
So many trucks. So disrespectful. Go ahead.
Anyway, everybody told him everything. He knew everything that went on, and he'd call you to the office, and you'd wonder, how did he know? Well, somebody you didn't know told him, so that was it.
Somebody snitched.
Uh-huh.
All right, so let's get a little bit of the school so people will know about it. Can you tell us what the school name is and the significance to Mecklenburg County?
In the early part of the 1900s, there was no school for African Americans or colored people. That's what I call them because I'm still stuck in that era. Mm-hmm. And so there was nothing but the Rosewall schools, and Mr. Lytle and Professor Torrence, they lobbied the county commissioners for money to build a high school because if you didn't have funds, since we didn't have a high school, you had to go out of town to Salisbury or Concord. Yeah, you had to go to another school because we didn't have it.
And those aren't, well, Concord isn't terribly far, but Salisbury is a nice little hike.
Well, you had to go to, what were those schools called? Boarding schools. Oh, but you had Livingston College, and you had, what was that college in Concord?
Barbara Scotia.
Barbara Scotia.
Yeah.
And so if you went to the 6th grade, that was all the education you got. Mm-hmm. And so, they lobbied the county commissioners for years, and after sometimes maybe in 1935, they gave them funds to build Huntersville Negro High School. Okay. And in September of 1937, these doors were open. The 1937 building, that was the initial part of it. Mm-hmm. In 1953, they added the cafeteria. And in 1958, they added the gym and the 2 wings, the elementary wing and the high school wing.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to walk over here and, I'm sure there's so many memories that people have in this building. What are some of the things that you feel were staples in this community and this school that people would look forward to on a consistent basis?
Consistently, we look forward to coming to the school because it was a welcome center. Mm-hmm. And everybody was welcome, no matter who your parents were or they were not. Mm-hmm. We enjoyed coming because this right here was classrooms at one time, but everybody gravitated to the school. Mm-hmm. And we got new people from Cornelius, Davison, Mallet Creek, Long Creek, and Charlotte because the attendance area was not drawn like it is now. Mm. And you could just move or stay with relatives and you could come and attend this school. Mm-hmm. And that is how we learn people from those areas. And they are still not exactly a descendant, but kind of a descendant because they went to school here and their parents talked about it because this is the only place that would have us to be educated.
Right, due to segregation.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And let me tell you a personal story. I attended the little Rosewall School about a mile away, and I was always mature for my age. So every afternoon, I would bring the lunch report and the attendance report through these doors to the principal and the secretary, and her office was right inside that door.
What was her name?
Lois Norton Grimm.
Okay. Nice. Bring back good memories?
Yeah, it was good. Not so good. One day, a guy was beating up on my cousin, and William was a timid little fella, and I'm not timid. So I beat him up with the umbrella.
You didn't get in trouble though, right?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Uh-oh. Did you get in trouble at home too?
I didn't tell it.
There you go. So that's a little bit of the history about this school that's behind me. Again, it's called Torrence-Lytle. And it was the first African-American high school in North Mecklenburg County.
It's the only one
The
and
only.
only.
The one and only.
Mhm.
So now we're going to go
Just right here.
explore a couple of other places from an entertainment standpoint. You need some help coming
No,
down?
I'm gonna stay right here.
No, we're staying right here. Okay. From an entertainment standpoint of with what people did in the community here in Pottstown. So what do you got for us?
Okay, where I'm standing now is the approximate place across the street from what we call the store. It was called Cheryl's Grocery, and we didn't have any place to recreate for the teenagers. So those people back in that time knew that if you didn't have something some way to entertain the young people, trouble would be their main focus. So he had a grocery store, Cheryl's Grocery, and he added a building with a cement floor to it. And probably right here, and their property is directly across the street on Church Street. The lots are adjacent to each other.
And you're talking about like right here?
Yeah, you see the little gazebo?
Yeah.
That was their property over there, and they still own the property, and that's a Cheryl house right there.
Okay.
And what would happen, we were famous to make a path everywhere. So you would come between their house and the Sloan house and walk over to the store. And my parents' house was over there where you see that clump of trees. That,
like right behind the orange house?
Uh-huh.
That's where your parents' house
Uh-huh.
was over there?
And so,
Okay, I see it.
so they would play. The fellows here were guaranteed a job over at the TB sanatorium. And so they got paid every 2 weeks.
Tuberculosis sanatorium?
TB.
So what would they do at a sanatorium?
Oh, they had dietary and orderly.
Oh,
And so it was a place where you could be employed. And if you lived in a distant place, you could stay on site because they had a dormitory for you.
okay.
And so the fellas here could always get a job.
Yeah.
And on payday, there was a jukebox here. And they, after the Cheryl stopped running it, they had a man named English Brothers and his wife. They ran the store. And so somebody would put a quarter in and play 3 songs and put the outside speaker on, and we'd come running.
That was the dinner bell, right?
Yeah, that was the
You
calling
knew
call.
It was time, right?
Yes. Now that's where I danced the night away.
That's where you danced the night away.
I danced the night away, wore out shoe after shoe after shoe, and our parents.
So would these make it back then?
No,
They wouldn't make it?
no.
No.
You had to have lace-up shoes.
Okay, because you would just dance your way right on up out of them, right?
Yeah, let me hold you,
I got you.
because you can't tell how deep this is. Okay.
All right, let's go. So we're walking down the street right now, and this street is called what again?
Central Avenue.
This is Central Avenue.
It used to have another name, but nobody can remember what it was.
There's a lot of traffic that's coming here in this community, I'm noticing. What is all that?
There is a demolition landfill at the end of Holbrook Road that used to be farmland that black people owned. And at one time there was a white guy named TJ who owned a lot of it on the south side, and the black people owned it on the north side. And we could have purchased it for $4,000, but nobody wanted to live in the bottom. Now everybody wants to live in the bottom in those $300,000 and $400,000 homes.
Yeah. I imagine that this was once a very quiet neighborhood, right?
Very quiet, loving. We had a sense of community that no one can imagine. I did an interview with a paper, and in my description of how we lived, she could feel it through my words. And that's just so amazing, and that's what we want to keep, because now the community, we survived the first phase of gentrification, but now we're approaching phase 2, and right now we're down to about 1/3 of the people who lived here.
Okay. So right now we're at the intersection of Holbrook and Central, and so we are walking to where?
We're going to the jukebox of my parents' day.
Jukebox. And would that be equivalent to a juke joint?
A juke joint, yes.
Gotcha. And now normally people may think back in the woods and, you know, discreet, etc., but you're saying with this specific juke joint, it was right here in the central of
In
where
the heart of
everything was
town.
at. Okay.
Because we needed to have somewhere to recreate, because we had a hard life. We were at the bottom of the barrel. And so this is where, that's my nephew and his doggy walking.
Right here?
Watch him say Aunt Betty. Hey, Aunt Betty.
What's up, man? How you
Hey,
doing?
Aunt Betty. It's Aunt Betty. It's Aunt Betty.
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Fine.
And hey, Zoe. How you doing, Zoe? Okay, Bella. Bye.
You're still a superstar around here. She knows everybody. Every time I come out here, she gets stopped because everyone knows her.
Hey.
Everybody. But normally when you think juke joints, you think off in the cut, out in the woods, like you wouldn't think like in the central and in the heart of things sometimes, right? But here it's kind of, that's what it is, right?
Well, because we were a up and coming Mecca, we had to have some place to recreate. And so, as
Hold on, give it Scott. That's one thing that's unfortunate out here is because of so much traffic now, there's always noise. So let's step on over here.
you want to tell them about the people who get compensation. Oops.
You all right?
I didn't see that.
No, it's okay.
And usually I walk down, I look down.
I got her hand, y'all. She almost bit the dust. She almost fell. All right, so now it's gotten a little bit quieter. So talk to us about this juke joint.
Oh, the juke joint.
Yep.
It was called Sharp's Place. And really, it wasn't so much of a juke joint. The people called it, my parents called it a dance hall.
Okay.
And so there was no bathroom, so I don't know what you did, but maybe they had an outdoor privy toilet somewhere.
Yeah.
And right now, you see the homes that it's in between.
Yep.
These are first generation homes of descendants of the enslaved.
Yeah.
And these people lived here forever, and it was never a problem because people knew that there was a time when you had to let the steam blow off because you'd had a hard day. And we were at the bottom of the barrel anyway, but as long as we stayed on the east side of the railroad track, we were okay. We only got into trouble if you tried to go past the railroad track and get on 115.
Well, let's go ahead and over here across the street.
And they can just wait.
Traffic down here is crazy on this small two-way street, and it's just.
And they're trying to get a.
And you all are trying to decrease the speed limit, right? Or add speed bumps to it?
Well, we asked them to, but DOT is doing some work.
Okay.
At least they put some signage up and they mowed the grass.
To get people to slow down.
And that might be an outhouse because it's on their property.
Back there.
Uh-huh.
That may be an outhouse back there. Or what once was an outhouse converted into something else. Right?
Yes.
But this is the place.
This is the place.
And so who would be the person who owned this home?
The man was Sharp.
Last name Sharp?
Sharp's Place.
Sharp's place.
Uh-huh.
All right.
And this was the place where they came on the weekends. You didn't come every day.
Well, they're still coming here, Miss Bee Jay, because look, we have a Blue Ribbon bottle, and then we also have a Budweiser bottle. So clearly, this is still the party place of this time.
Yes.
Right now, for those who want to just loiter and hang around.
Well, after it moved on and it became home to Miss Lena Berry and Mr. Charles Berry. They were husband and wife.
Okay.
And she started, oh Lord, they're going in. But anyway, Miss Lena used to have us come into her house. She had Sunshine Band #1 and #2, where she taught us about the Bible and taught us how to crochet and knit and stuff like that. So we always had people in the community who were a little bit forward thinking.
Yeah.
And so that made us aware of another world that we were not privy to.
And so everyone would need to, after doing all that heavy lifting, you also had to have places where you can entertain yourself too, right?
Yes.
So I'm imagining this place rocking with just all kind of people in and out. And it looks like these floors are pretty old. I don't want to say if they're original or not.
So you can't
but they
tell.
look like they're pretty old. So this would
And
be
look
the
this
entrance.
wood.
And you said your mother would come
Yes.
here, right?
Uh-huh.
Your mother would come here and party?
Yes. And you can tell that wood is never going to rot or do anything because it's naturally green wood.
Yeah. Now, as far as with entertainment, we got to have liquor.
Yeah.
So
Now we
talk
didn't
to
have
us.
no, not liquor. White lightning.
White lightning.
White lightning.
Okay.
That was the drink of choice.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
were no drugs. That was the drug. And pretty often, they didn't have beer. You would have home brew.
Yep.
That's something you made in a great big crock pot that they may use to make buttermilk from in the daytime, but at
Okay.
nighttime it was for home brew.
It's for places like this.
Yes.
All right. All right. And so now across the street, since we're here in Pottstown, this was a store.
This was the ice cream shop
This was the ice cream
that
shop.
Miss
Well, let me
Lena,
get one more little shot here so you all can see
the
where the
address, the
dance
address.
hall was, if you will. And this was the address right here. Let's get it. There we go. 13817.
Holbrook
here in
Road.
Pottstown. And then everyone went to Bible school the Bible study the next day, right?
Well, it was once a week. Sometime during the week we would come over here. We had designated.
I think they're letting us go.
Okay,
All right, cool.
designated times for us to come, and being a strong-willed child, I didn't want to come because I knew more than they knew. I thought, I got to watch where I'm going.
Yep, watch your step.
And so I didn't come, I didn't frequent those meetings, but we learned so much because we were people who knew the value of being educated and to learn things that we didn't have in our own homes.
Yeah.
Because my parents worked out in the city, and my babysitter
When
was
you say out in the city, like in Charlotte or in Huntersville?
My dad worked in Charlotte, and my
Okay.
mom was a waiter for the doctors over at the TB sanatorium.
Okay, so
in
the
between-
sanatorium was pretty huge around there, as far as finances.
And it was the only place that we could find a job for sure.
Yeah. And so now we're in front of this other building.
And this was called Barringer and Berry's place. They were two sisters, Miss Lena Brown Berry and Miss Wealthia Brown Barringer. And they knew that there was no place for the kids to buy ice cream.
Was that due to segregation?
Probably.
Due to Jim Crow, where they
Yes.
couldn't go into certain parts of town?
No, we couldn't go anywhere and buy anything. There was a drugstore, but the way you had to enter and do everything, it was just a no-no. You didn't want to go through that hoop.
Yeah.
So they created this store, and we could come and buy ice cream. And then eventually, they started to sell bread, drinks, nothing alcoholic.
It's like Merita bread was the bread of choice here.
It was
says
Merita
right
bread,
here,
yes,
By Merita
bread.
bread. I've never heard of that. Oh, is that the one with the yellow packaging?
Probably. I thought they were still in operation.
Yeah, I think that's the one with the yellow packaging. So give me your times, the things that you remember coming up here to this little store.
Okay, you had a nickel. You could buy so much with the nickel. You had 2 for a penny cookies, 2 for a penny kits, and if you had 6 cents, you could buy a drink. Dixie Cola. And we were so happy with that because we were in hog heaven because we could walk to the store by ourselves. Now in Huntersville, if you got children, you can't let them go anywhere by themselves. It's just a no-no. But we could come. Children as young as 4 and 5 knew their way to the store and back home again. And so there was never an issue of traffic or anyone harming the kids. No bad dogs. You were just safe.
Yeah.
Just safe.
And
And we
so-
missed that.
Sure, absolutely. Anything else in the community, like from where we're at this point right here, that kind of speaks to entertainment or the heart of Pottstown?
Well, this house burned, a couple houses burned during my youth here.
Yep.
And the people were always so willing to help rebuild or do whatever. So you were never really alone in your problems of whatever you had because there was a community effort behind you.
Nice. Excellent. Well, this has been very enlightening to I mean, it's just crazy. There's so much traffic here. I can only imagine how it has rocked the community that's used to being nestled away in this quiet space to now have all the traffic here. And they're here because there's a rock quarry down there or something
No,
like that? What's down there?
It's a demolition landfill that's sanctioned by the county, and it's old enough to have great-grandchildren, and we lobbied against it for years.
Okay.
But what happened, with the help of powers unknown, the people on Holbrook Road signed a petition that said they did not mind the trucks coming. We had signed a petition before with everybody in the Pottstown and East Huntersville area to say that we wanted them to stop and not extend the lifespan of that demolition landfill. And that was sometimes before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And what they were asking for was a 40-year extension. And so I went to the town board and had me, 40 years older, someone half my age, and younger people to see how old they would be at the end of their 40-year length.
Yeah.
And so they've even extended that now.
Golly, it's crazy. I see this gentleman out here all the time.
That's my friend Larry.
I see him all the time on this on his lawnmower.
He's old now.
Yeah, I see him all the time riding up and down here. You want to come over and say what's up? I like your wheels, man. They roll.
Hey Larry, how you doing?
All right.
Don't be mad at me. We want to interview you.
For what?
He's a documentarian.
What you doing what?
History.
You doing what?
History.
About what?
Pottstown.
About me?
No.
About what?
Well, he saw you, so I said that's my friend Larry.
Okay. What you want to know, bro?
Are you from the area?
I am.
Yeah, so we just like to talk about the pride that people have by living in Pottstown. How proud people are for staying here in Pottstown. And
Very proud.
Yep.
Very proud. I would not, if I could not, leave here.
Yeah.
Period. I would be here the rest of my life. But that's not going to be long.
You going back to Connecticut?
I am.
Oh, okay.
Eventually.
Well, Larry, I need you a little bit of help. I got a leak and I don't know where it is, but I kind of think I know. I've had somebody down there, but it's up in the attic. You think you can bend down enough to get in the attic and help me?
Attic.
You're in the attic? Okay. When it rains, come see me.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Pottstown, it's a very good town.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Appreciate it, Larry.
Okay, take care.
So I told you all, she's the mayor, the unofficial mayor of Pottstown. She's the unofficial mayor of Pottstown. She knows everybody. She's even getting people coming to fix stuff in her attic. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Larry. So right now we're headed to the David Waer.
David B. Waer was the gym of Torrence-Lytle High School, and it had a name. The name was C.W. Bradford Gymtorium. And the parking lot, the ball field, is where we're headed now, because this was where we recreated year-round. We were able to come after the school closed in '66. We had a community center, and this is before this is when Mecklenburg County was over all the different towns in their park and rec. Oh my. So what happened, as the towns became larger, they wanted their own park and rec department. So Matthews, Cornelius, Davison, and Huntersville opted out of Mecklenburg County being the person in charge of it. So this basically is the baseball field, and it's been laid out at almost the same place ever since.
Yeah. So this is where everything went down.
Uh-huh.
That's what's up.
And this was
good memories?
It does. Oh, I remember. Now I'm a little girl, and the men are probably your age, and they're playing baseball.
Yep.
And they got the wives and the girlfriends, and we're just looking at them and wondering, God, wonder how that worked. Because we were not, you didn't see, you saw your parents maybe and their siblings, but you never saw grown people at an event where they were boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife. So that was interesting to watch because we'd never seen that before.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Well, this is Pottstown, and it is a community where people are so prideful of their history. And there's a Pottstown Heritage Group. They're doing a lot of things to upfit homes in the community, random, events, various different events to help enrich the community and make sure that there's a sense of permanency that's here. And then, of course, this beautiful young lady, Miss Bee Jay, she's an author. She just does so much great stuff here in the community of Pottstown to make sure that its legacy stays alive and well. And again, like I mentioned, she is the unofficial mayor of Pottstown, whether she likes to say that or not, or she accepts it or not. I'm giving it to her. And so I thank you for this tour today. But if you could tell the viewers one last thing about why Pottstown is so important, not only for your specific legacy, your ancestors, but just in general, what would be your last words just for today to people that are watching this about the community of Pottstown?
Work together, treat everyone as you would want to be treated, because you never know when some calamity is going to hit us and we're going to have to depend on each other. And I'd like to give you a sidebar conversation. This area is filled with springs. If you know what a spring is, it's a place where water comes up spontaneously. Well, up until the late 1940s, we had to depend on a spring to get our water for washing clothes and cooking. And right down through here, there's a spring somewhere in those trees. And you didn't have to go far to get a spring water, but you had to carry many, many buckets to get to wash your clothes.
Yeah. Well, listen, folks, you all have learned and viewed a lot about Pottstown, and it's actually just a little bit. There's way, way more to learn about it. But I want to thank you for viewing. Make sure to subscribe, share with a friend, as I'll be covering various different smaller communities with unheralded history. Peace.